Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. Today's video brought to you by the letter H. Yeah, just jumping on to the continuation of the thread that Jacob had started over at his channel. If you've not been over to Jacob's channel, young fella over there in Denmark, I shouldn't say young fella, I don't mean he's pretty sure he's younger than I am, but Jacob's music channel KRI. So I've been going along with this thread and then kind of had a bit of a hiatus just throughout the holidays. So Happy New Year, by the way, if this is your first video that you're seeing in my new year, in the new year. I did post a few of the little shorts, whatever, just to keep things happening. It gives me something to do with some downtime. It helps to have something to do. So we're on letter H, like I say, and yeah, today, I think I will keep it relatively short. I'm only going to show a few. I don't know. I mean, I like showing some that maybe I haven't shown before, but I've seen a lot of these videos, and there's so many out there that I don't have a huge collection. I mean, compared to some in the violent community, I mean, I do have a fair bit, I guess, but nothing like some of the ones I see. So it's tough to put videos out there and not be showing stuff that's been seen somewhere else. But I guess it depends what you watch as well. So maybe you haven't seen any of these, and that's fine. But I'm going to try and represent something that's close to home. Me being here in Canada, I'll show some Canadian content. And I hope to get some more of these videos. I'm behind. I mean, I know Jacob has moved on to other things and is no longer doing this thread, but he's given his blessings for everybody else to continue doing them. And I've seen Kim over at This Is Music doing his, and Jason at Jason Skills. He's low noise Jason Skills. He's still doing them. In fact, I've got one in the queue that I wanted to watch. I think he just did. Did he do it today? I'm not sure. I guess it depends when you're seeing this, but this is Saturday where I am. Snowing like a bugger outside, so not much we can do out there. Well, not much I want to do out there. Lots you can do. But anyway, let's get to it without further ado. Like I say, I'm going to try and present some Canadian content. I'll put my iPad away here because I need this little stool. I've got a couple of, along with some of the bands I'm going to mention, some of the albums I'll present some of the other ones in their catalog as well, their discography, just because there happen to be ones that I have in them. And if you've not in my catalog, in my collection, Jesus, easy for me to say. And if you've not heard of them, then it'll give you an idea of some of their stuff that maybe I would recommend checking out. So let's get to it. Most important tool nowadays, my cheaters. I need these just to see what the heck I'm doing. So the first one I'm going to show for H, Haywire. So these are a Canadian band, as I mentioned, some Canadian content. They're actually from my home province of Prince Edward Island. Here's to all my friends, family back home, all those out in Alberta and all over, everybody in the BC. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your day, whatever you may be doing. But yeah, I digress. Back to Haywire. This, I think, was their first album after they'd done some. I think they'd done an EP, or they'd entered some music contests, a Battle of the Bands, and they'd won that. And I think instead of just doing a little EP like they were offered, they took some of their own money and put out a full-length album as opposed to doing just EP. So this one is called Bad Boys. Haywire, I think it's Bad Boys. Or is that Bad Boys? No, just Bad Boys. The song is called Bad Boy. But yeah, Paul McCausland, Dave Rashid, Marvin Burt, Ronnie Switzer, and Sean Kilbride. Vocals, keyboards, guitars, bass, drums, respectively. Yeah, right out of Charlottetown. I think they went over and they did most of their recording in Halifax, I believe. I think that's where their fan club was based out of. Hudson Productions, Halifax South, Nova Scotia. But yeah, Haywire. And it's funny how genres. If you go on, you use Discogs or whatever your whatever you use the catalog, and you do your research. What did they have these guys listed at? I wrote it down because it was so funny to me how genres just are so meaningless to me. Hard rock, glam metal. That's what Haywire are listed under, hard rock glam metal. Now, I would suggest they're neither of those by any measure, but that's just one man's opinion. Kind of pop rock, that kind of thing, but decent nonetheless. Check them out. That's the first in the H's. The next up, one I would suggest is globally well known, certainly globally known, and it's a debut from 1967 of Mr. Jimi Hendrix. The Experience. Are You Experienced? I think it was Vinyl Rich here, somebody who showed this one as well. But it was for something else. I don't think he was doing this thread. I don't know. Just go over and see. But this is essentially a greatest hits. I mean, side one kicks off with Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Hey Joe, Love or Confusion, May This Be Love, I Don't Live Today. That's side one. Flip it over, side two, and it kicks off with The Wind Cries Mary. Goes into Fire, Third Stone from the Sun, Foxy Lady, and Art closes out with Are You Experienced? I mean, just an incredible album by any stretch. I don't know. Not much more needs to be said about that. If you've not heard it already, I would highly recommend. To me, it's a must, but of course, a must is anything you feel is worthy in your collection. So I'm not the gatekeeper on what's a must. That's for damn sure. So next up, we'll go back with some Canadian content, and these guys are in the 50-year club. 50 years is in 1974 is when they were first formed by the vocalist and I believe bass player. Was it the bass player? But anyway, Brian Balmer, and it is Helix. This is their first major label debut. No Rest from the Wicked from '83. And like I say, I'm going to present a couple more that are relevant. They followed it up with Walking the Razor's Edge in '84. And then these are the only ones I have. Long Way to Heaven. That was '85, I believe, wasn't it? Is that what I wrote down? Lose track of these over the years. Yeah, '85. Decent in their own right, but this was my introduction to Helix. In fact, this wasn't my introduction. I think it was on I've got a compilation here. How's it called? Masters of Metal, Volume 2. And one of the tunes off of here, Heavy Metal Love, was on that compilation. This is a good album, a decent album. They had done two prior to this, 79 and 81, I think, just independently. But this, like I say, their first major label debut, 1983, and some bitch and moan or not fans of the cover, and that's great. I mean, that's to each their own, right? But yeah, Breaking Loose in '79 and White Lace, Black Leather preceded this one, but independently. I don't have those, but hope to add those to just to round out my catalog. I'm not a completist by any means, but certain bands I'd like to have all their stuff. But yeah, Brian Vollmer was on vocals, Brent Dorner on guitar, Paul Hackman, who passed away in '92. I still remember that day, actually. It was in a bus accident. They were heading out of, I was living in Calgary at the time. They were heading out of BC, somewhere around, not in Vernon, but that's where he ended up dying. I think it was Vernon at the hospital. But it was a bus crash. Their van crashed, and he died. And I remember hearing it on the radio out there in Calgary on local radio station CJ92 at the time. They're probably still around. Greg Hins on drums and Mike Uzalik on bass on this album. I think the following album, a different bass player. So no, it wasn't him. I think it was Paul Hackman and Brian Vollmer. I think started Helix in '74, 50 years ago. Yeah, well. So anyway, without further ado, let's move on to the next one, and the next one is Hollies Live. Now this one I think is '75. Was recorded on that tour. This is Graham Nash's original band. Most of you probably know that. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, one iteration of them, but Crosby, Stills, Nash. But Nash is not on this one. He'd left by this time. I think he left in the late '60s, early '70s, somewhere in there. But yeah, it's got their mainstays on here. I Can't Let Go, Just One Look, I Can't Tell the Bottom from the Top, Bus Stop, Another Night, Sandy, Star, My Island, Side 2 is I'm Down, Stop, 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 Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress, of course, Carrie Ann. These are all great tunes, in my opinion. Again, just one man's opinion. The Air That I Breathe, great tune. Too Young to Be Married, and another great tune, He Ain't Heavy. He's my brother, man. So yeah, Holly's live. Really, it's the only Holly's album I have, but it's a good one. It's a good live album. Can't have everything, so certainly on my budget. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. Good album. Check it out if you've not checked out the Hollies. I mean, certainly, I would suggest that's actually a good one probably to start with if you like live albums, and I do. It's got all the main cuts from Hollies. Next up for H, PJ Harvey. No, I think this is her debut. No, I don't know why I start off like that when I'm certain of myself. This is her debut album. She'd done work previously, but this is her solo debut. Dry, it's called. Fun fact about PJ Harvey: she was born the same day as Elton John. Jesus, John Lennon, October 9th, as was John's son Sean. They were all born on October 9th, and that's insignificant to many, I'm sure, except my wife, growing up as a huge Beatles fan, and her mom, as I've mentioned in some of my short videos, October 9th was a very significant day to them, being John Lennon's birthday. So our wedding anniversary is October 9th. We decided to get married on the 9th of October. So just a little tidbit about that. Released in 1992. Yeah, I don't know much about PJ Harvey. It's a pretty decent album. I think she only did one or maybe two after this. That I'm not sure about. So leave a comment. And this is one I picked up at one of those bargain bins. If you look close, you can see it was dog-eared. It was bent, But I don't care about as long as the medium is good. The media and the vinyl is fine on this. It's got the inner sleeve, and yeah. So it was really cheap. I usually don't pay much more than 15, 20 bucks Canadian, which is maybe, 13 to 16, 17 bucks US, maybe, if that. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but anyway, PJ Harvey. And I got two more. So another one here, Canadian Content. This is their second album. And I actually have two copies of this. Harlequin. I don't know why I have two copies of this. Maybe it was, I mentioned in some of my other videos, those are familiar with my channel, at one juncture, I picked up a box of vinyl from a guy. That was wasn't his collection. It was, he came across it about having it, but because somebody owed him some money. But it was a box of about 100 records, and got it at a really good deal. I think there was a double of this in there. But this is best known for Innocence, Thinking of You. Good Canadian band out of Winnipeg. George Boulanger on vocals, Dave Budzak on drums, Gary Golden keyboard, Ralph James bass, Glenn Willow on lead and rhythm guitars, acoustics, backup vocals. Yeah, this is the follow-up to 1979's Victim of a Song, and then the next one would have been, I've got that pulled out here too because it's significant. One False Move. Really good record here as well. Harlequin. Check them out. Like I say, if you haven't checked them out, I should have pulled that out of the outer sleeve. Sorry for all the glare. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot after. I mean, they did follow that one up. Love Crimes is called. Actually, this significant about that is the artwork on the cover is by Hypnosis as well. Of course, Hypnosis is very well known in the record community of doing fantastic album covers. Yeah. So yeah, that was the follow-up, One False Move, after Love Crimes, and I don't have the first one, Victim of a Song. But good Canadian band. If you've not heard them, I was just checking them out. And this one I suggest is very well known, the Honey Drippers. Of course, Robert Plant from Zeppelin, right? And best known for Sea of Love, Rockin' at Midnight. Really good, really good. If you like that, it's kind of like it's got the 50s kind of doo-wop sound to it. But yeah, Honey Drippers Volume 1. Really good record. I really like this one. Yeah, it's your 50s standards kind of songs. But if you've not heard it, I can't imagine there are many people who haven't to some degree. Even if you think you haven't, there's probably Sea of Love or Rockin' at Midnight will ring a bell, be through the airwaves somewhere over the years, depending on your age, I guess, as I say. And then I'm going to round it off with one of my favorite Canadian bands, and the first band I saw live as a kid, and that wasn't actually until 1983. I was probably 15 or 16. So yeah, that seems like a late age to see a live act. But where I grew up, there wasn't much. It's not even the first live act. Probably the first real, like, signed to a label band that I saw. And it's the Headpins. I've shown this before. I show it a lot just because I like to give them exposure. They're one of my favorite bands, Canadian bands, and they always have been. But this is a smoking album. Great album. As is this one. They followed it up with Line of Fire. This is the tour I saw them on. Just incredible, I think, in my opinion. Again, always is. Head Over Heels was the final one. Unfortunately, due to record company lack of promotion, the bureaucracy within the label, I don't know. But it's unfortunate. Brian Too Loud McLeod, who has since passed away, was a phenomenal guitar player. So that's it. I'll leave it at that. I mean, I've gone on long enough. I was hoping to keep it relatively short. And I guess relative to some videos, maybe it is, but had fun doing it. I hope you enjoyed it. That's brought to you by Letter H today. So I'm going to try and get caught up on these. I know some people have done them. Steve, by the way, thanks, Steve. Steve will know what I'm talking about. Just some correspondence we had. Awesome dude over at All the World's a Stage. You guys know Steve. And if you don't, you should. Just one of the best guys. Anyway, yeah, so where was I going with that? Yeah, I've seen some of his videos and a few more, but they've already completed the whole alphabet. They're like those kids in school who, well, this is too easy. But of course, Steve's pumping out 3 or 4 videos a day. I don't even know if that man sleeps. But yeah, it's fun anyway, regardless. I hope to continue it and finish the whole alphabet. It's a good way, like I say, to share what's in my collection, my vinyl collection, however modest it is. And I hope you enjoy it. I enjoy doing it, and it's also a good way to, shout out and maybe bring attention to some of those other channels, because I'm just doing this for fun. I don't care so much about how much people know about my channel. All due respect to those who watch, I do appreciate you watching. So, not to take anything away from that, I'm having fun doing it, and I'm flattered that people enjoy watching what I provide here as well, the content that I have available. So I'll leave it at that. Kind of went on there a little bit at the end, but that's just the way it is. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you again soon here at Twanger's Turntable. Cheers, everyone. Bye.